Under the dim glow of stage lights at Forest Hills High School back in 1953, two teenage boys, Paul Simon and Art Garfunkel, stepped nervously onto a small auditorium stage. They were bonded by a shared love for doo-wop and big dreams that stretched far beyond the modest borders of Queens, New York. No one watching that night could have guessed these shy kids would one day define the sound of an entire generation. And fewer still would imagine that their bond built on harmony and hope would unravel into silence, bitterness, and heartbreak. The story of Simon and Garfunkel is one of music's most poetic contradictions. Their voices blended in perfect harmony, yet behind the scenes their friendship crumbled in discord. From the very beginning, subtle cracks were already forming beneath their success. Paul Simon was the quiet craftsman, disciplined perfectionist, poring over every lyric and note like a man obsessed. Art Garfunkel, on the other hand, had the angelic voice and the magnetic stage presence. While Paul toiled in the background, Art was the face the crowds adored. And though Paul was the primary songwriter, his role was often overshadowed by the voice that carried his words. Their first hit came as the teenage duo Tom and Jerry with Hey Schoolgirl. But even then, Paul was secretly writing more serious material, determined to be recognized as more than just a background player. Their reunion in the 1960s as Simon and Garfunkel sparked a musical revolution. Paul's introspective lyrics, paired with Art's soaring vocals, produced timeless songs like The Sound of Silence, Scarborough Fair, and Bridge Over Troubled Water. Their music became the emotional heartbeat of a generation navigating war, change, and disillusionment. But as their fame skyrocketed, so did the tension. Art was celebrated as the voice of the duo, while Paul, despite being the mastermind behind the music, was often left feeling invisible. In the studio, Paul's obsessive drive clashed with Art's laid-back demeanor. The final breaking point came in 1969 when Art accepted a role in the film Catch-22, leaving Paul to shoulder the burden of their final album alone. That betrayal wasn't just professional, it was deeply personal. The album Bridge Over Troubled Water was their masterpiece. And A Quiet Goodbye, the title track, written by Paul specifically for Art, became one of the most beloved ballads in pop history. But as the world praised Art's vocal performance, Paul once again found himself standing in the shadows of his own creation. The bitterness festered not in fiery fights, but in long silences and subtle digs that would scar their relationship permanently, although they occasionally reunited, like the legendary 1981 Central Park concert that drew over 500,000 fans. The warmth on stage never extended behind the scenes. By the 1980s, they were touring together without speaking a single word off stage. Paul adjusted set lists without consulting Art. Art fired back in interviews, accusing Paul of ego and control issues. Then came the blow that would end all chances of reconciliation. Paul publicly dismissed Art's contributions as minimal. Art's reply was swift and scathing. He called Paul a monster of a little guy. And with that, the fragile bond finally shattered. They would never fully mend it. In the years that followed, reunions became rarer, interviews more pointed. Art accused Paul of being addicted to control, while Paul claimed Art was an unreliable and self-important partner. Their correspondence faded. By 2015, all hopes of another album or tour were gone. Paul announced his retirement, calling nostalgia a kind of recycled torture. Art quietly slipped out of the spotlight. Despite all the pain, their music remains untouched. When fans press play on America or The Boxer, they don't hear a feud, they hear magic. On stage, their voices fused into something transcendent. Offstage, they simply couldn't find that same rhythm. Maybe they never will. But perhaps that's the bittersweet beauty of their story. They gave the world perfect harmony, even if their friendship was anything but . So next time you listen to Bridge Over Troubled Water, think of those two teenage boys on a high school stage, dreaming of a future they couldn't yet see. A future filled with chart-topping success, emotional distance, and music that would outlive them both. Thanks for watching Starloop News. If this story moved you, hit that like button, subscribe, and tap the notification bell so you never miss a beat in the world of legendary music icons and untold Hollywood stories. Until next time, stay curious, stay inspired, and keep the music playing.